There we go. So welcome along. As I said, if you haven't met me before or you haven't seen a picture of me and you don't know who it is that's talking to you, there I am. My name is Shan Lawson and I have a business called Your Accountability Buddy. And basically, I like to call myself a professional butt kicker. That's what I like to do most. And I mean that in the nicest possible way. So I'm really passionate about helping people not only to set their goals, because people set goals all the time, you know, big ones, small ones, whatever. People are always goal setting. But given the fact you're here, I guess you realize that you don't always achieve your goals. So I can be people's cheer squad, I can be their hand holder, I can be their inspiration, but most of the time what people want me to do is to kick their butt. They say, Shan, just keep on me until I get this because I really want it. So, hey, I'm happy to oblige. So that's a little bit about me and what I do. So before we get into the content, if you have a pen and paper there, fantastic. If you don't, it's okay. You can just say this to yourself in your head. And if you're, what I'd love even more so is if you would type your intention for this evening into the question box so that I could share some of these with other people. So what would you like out of our time, our hour tonight? What would you love to learn? What would you love to know? You know, what are some things you really want to get and what do you want to bring to this, I guess? So I'm just going to have a sip of water. I don't have any thinking music for you, I'm sorry. So just take a moment, jot down or think in your head what your intention for being here on this webinar is. And like I said, if you could also type some into the question box, that would be fantastic. The gorgeous Penny says, learn methods to overcome procrastination and use it to assist others. That is beautiful. Thank you. Sending you an Uber hug. Thank you, Sue. I would like to know why people actually procrastinate and leave things to the last moment and don't get on with the list. You are in the right place, Sue, because I'm going to be able to help you with that. Brilliant. Good stuff. Okay. So I hope you've all got your intention and you'll keep that in mind as you're heading through the information that I'm about to give you. So, oh, Lisa Harvey. Hi, Lisa. How are things up there on the North Coast? It's raining. It's raining and raining and raining here on the Central Coast. I hope you're getting some better weather up there. How to stop putting off the big stuff. Oh, boy, I'm getting so many questions. The big stuff, yeah. Good one, Lisa. We will certainly cover that. And Bernie, welcome, Bernie. To recognize the triggers of entering the procrastination mode and then learn some techniques for rewording to make changes. I love it. Yes. And Sophia, thank you. To finish what I have started. Love it. Great intentions, guys. You guys are rock stars. Cool. Let's do this thing, shall we? So let's start. What is procrastination? I hear you cry. Well, everyone procrastinates on occasion, and for some people it's a problem just maybe in a certain area of their life, and for others it's an actual way of life that they procrastinate so much, and it affects them in most, if not all, areas. For example, they don't pay their bills on time. They don't use gift certificates that they might have been given before the expiry date. They leave filing their taxes late, and they leave shopping for events for, say, Christmas and people's birthdays until the last minute. I know in previous years I have been a huge one of sending lots of belated birthday cards. Just shocking at getting on with stuff before I learned all these wonderful things I'm about to impart with you. Procrastinators in general are just late for most things. So if that's resonating with you, you can just type a yes in there. Procrastination is always frustrating because it results in wasted time and lost opportunities, perhaps sometimes disappointing work performance, and even worse, it leads to people generally feeling bad about themselves. When I work with people, the most common question I get is, what's wrong with me? I know what I should be doing. I've got my things and I'm not doing it. Why don't I do it? What's wrong with me? Well, there's nothing wrong with you. I've got to give you the heads up here and take some pressure off straight away. There's nothing wrong with you. I remember working with a lovely lady once, and she was just hilarious. She said, I've got my list of stuff that I know I'm supposed to be doing. I know where I'm supposed to be going. And she said, I found myself out in the garden yesterday digging up weeds. And she said, I haven't been in the garden for like 12 months. I normally pay somebody. She said, I hate gardening. What the hell was I doing out there pulling weeds? It's just, she just couldn't believe her own behavior. It was just quite funny. We had quite a good giggle about that. Asking yourself the question, what's wrong with me, is the kind of thought that can reinforce the idea that somehow you're, in quotes, broken, or you're just not good enough. There's something else that I've kind of labelled myself a little syndrome. I've invented my own syndrome name, and it's Saved by the Bell syndrome, where oftentimes you just get away with it. You had a really tight deadline and you were pushing, and somehow you managed to pull it out of your butt and you got away with it. You were just saved by the bell. That kind of pattern actually rewards and reinforces your habit of procrastination. Conversely, there's another part of your mind that also lets you know that you could have done a better job if you'd allowed more time. And then again, that reinforces that thought that you might be having, saying, I'm just not good enough. Procrastinators often have great excuses, or the really grown-up version of excuses are reasons, such as, I'll feel more like doing this tomorrow. I'm not feeling very creative right at this second. I'll feel more creative later. I mean, I'm sure the creative fairies will come along and sprinkle some creative dust on you tomorrow, but just not today. The other one I hear the procrastinators tell themselves a fair bit is, but I work best under pressure. And I wonder if you've said any of those to yourselves before. You can just type a little yes if that's resonating. Anybody? But most times, in fact, I'd say all times, they don't get the urge the next day, and they certainly don't work best under pressure despite what they're telling themselves. Procrastination is not a problem of time management, and it's not a problem of planning. Although I've got to say, most procrastinators overestimate what they can accomplish in the time allotted, or they're very, very optimistic that everything will just go smoothly, so they don't allow any time for any unexpected events. Many times it's the result of thinking that you're not good enough, and when self-doubt creeps in, you just pile that on top of yourself as well, and you end up in this vicious circle. Circle, you know what I mean. That the more you dump on yourself, the less you feel like getting on with what you know you should be doing. Procrastinators actively look for distractions. like I said before, that lady that went looking for digging out weeds, just, anything to not be getting on with what she knew she should be doing. And particularly the procrastinators, excuse me, I've got to sneeze. Sorry. Sorry, guys. Oh, hang on, there's another one. Oh, excuse me. Where was I at? Actively looking for distractions. So checking email is perfect for this purpose. And the reason that people are looking for distractions is that they're kind of regulating to not face up to their emotions that they might be feeling, such as fear of failure. I know Facebook gets a hammering. It's trotted out quite often as when I'm talking to people about their most favourite distraction, Facebook's right up there. And I love Facebook, I've got to say. But there is a time and a place, and you can get quite caught up in that world and use it as a reason for not getting on with your work, because surely there's information there that if you just kept trolling through, it would be the next great thing that was going to turn your business around. So I just better stay on Facebook for another half an hour. Most people don't have a problem finding time for the things they want to do. But once they see a task as too difficult or painful or boring or overwhelming, the procrastination behaviours begin. Hope that's all making sense, guys. And if you have any questions, as I said, please don't hesitate to pop them in the box. So there are three basic types of procrastinators. There are thrill seekers, who wait to the last minute for the euphoric rush of just getting away with it. They were those saved by the Bellas that I was talking about before. There are avoiders, who may be avoiding the fear of failure or even the fear of success. But in either case, they're very concerned with what others think of them. And believe it or not, they'd rather have others think that they lack effort than ability. And the third kind are decisional procrastinators, who cannot make a decision. Not making a decision absolves procrastinators of the responsibility for the outcome of events. And I think if you're really good at procrastination, if you label yourself, with a capital P, and you count yourself as a serial procrastinator, then you might float across those three types in various forms. So there are great big costs to procrastination, and health is one of the major ones. There's also social disapproval for not meeting your responsibilities and commitments. And procrastinators can be labelled as lazy, and on the other end of the scale they can be labelled as perfectionists. And believe it or not, like I said before, these feelings of being socially disapproved or feeling like you're lazy is going to promote further procrastination, because you're just getting down on yourself. So how did this all begin, guys? This is some of the stuff you asked me about as we started. Well, I've got to tell you, procrastinators are made, they're not born. Procrastination is learned during upbringing, and it's maybe the result of having too much authority from your parents or whoever raised you. And that results in a form of rebellion. At the other end of the scale, and this is what my situation was growing up, not enough authority where the child has everything done for them. My mum, I love her to bits. She did everything for my brother and I when we were children. Whichever end of the scale you were at in your upbringing, it meant that you never learned to self-regulate. So I'm wondering, I'll just take a minute, does anyone relating to that, does anybody find that they had a very, very authoritarian upbringing, or perhaps, they had lots done for them, as I did? Thank you for all the bless yous for my sneezing too. What was the last one again? Fabian, did you mean in the 3 types of procrastinators? Yes, okay. The third type was decisional, people who cannot make a decision. And if they don't choose a path, if they just say, I don't know, I don't know, I don't know, then that absolves them from the outcome. So if say I didn't choose that, it's not me, they can always externalize the result. I hope that helps. Bernie came from the end of overbearing parents who allowed no freedom to make mistakes and find your own way. Yes. Savior mode. You're welcome, Fabian. Penny, another had authoritarian. Lots of rules. So this is ringing true with you. Thanks for sharing, guys. It's great. Additionally, I believe that society has made it much easier for us to break promises to ourselves in favour of instant gratification. We promise ourselves we'll save money and we'll pay off our debt, and then some shiny new technology comes along, or a very tempting holiday backed up with an irresistible credit offer that somehow it just makes sense. You'd be silly not to take it. And I think there's just so much of that now, and it just reinforces that thought in our head that we just need this right now. So true, said Fabian. Yes. And Mary had said before about the two ends of the scale, always a parent, an adult, and never a child. Fantastic. Thanks for sharing, guys. So yes, I think our modern society of just letting people get what they want whenever they feel like it and not having to wait and apply some of that self-regulation is contributing massively to procrastination. To give you an example, I think back to the size of the wardrobes we had in the house when I was a kid, and I can see my wardrobe. It was a little white thing. It was cute. It had 2 small doors. On one side had my hanging stuff, and on the other side it had some drawers and shelves for my folded things and shorts and undies and what have you. In my house today, I've got 2 full-size double-door wardrobes, one in each of the bedrooms of my 3-bedroom townhouse. I've got my office and 2 other bedrooms here. So I've got the 2 full-size double-door wardrobes full, and I've got a chest of drawers. And here's the kicker, guys. I live alone. So that's how much stuff we create for ourselves in our life and think we need. Or is that just me? I've got to say. I don't think it is just me. That's just an example of the kind of modern habit now. It's seriously very funny. Thank you, Bernie. So guys, when you understand that this is a pattern that you've been running since childhood, I hope that takes the pressure off you of all that other kind of negative thinking that you've had on yourself of what's wrong with me and why do I do this. And it's also got to be a huge relief, as it was for me, to realize that if I've learned how to procrastinate, then you can learn how to undo it. So give me a hell yeah on that. And I'm just going to have a sip of water. Okay. Yeah, hell yeah. I love it. Absolutely. Self-criticism is so destructive. Hell yeah, and thank you. Thank you, Bernie. Hell yeah. Tell me how, please. I will, Sophia. Sophia, look. She wants it now. Instant. Patience, my dear. It's coming. I'm just kidding. Okay, so here we go. Sophia's laughing. Okay. Here we are on the Someday Isles. So there are 2 big ways that procrastination can affect you. There's short term, where you put off working on tasks and responsibilities that you know you should attend to day to day. And this is the kind of stuff that leads you to feeling down and stressed and can lead to ill health, as I said before. The second way is long-term. And these are your dreams and your plans. And they hang out in a lovely place called the Someday Isles. I'll do that someday when I'm older, smarter, wealthier, thinner, more educated. But here's the tip, guys. Both kinds affect you getting what you really want, and both kinds are conveniently protecting you from having to have a go, put yourself out there, looking silly perhaps, or not getting it right the first time, God forbid. The Someday Isles are nice and safe, but do you really want to visit there your whole life? So here's a thought for you. Sex may sell. No, Bernie doesn't want to hang out in the Someday Isles. Woohoo, well done, Bernie. So sex may sell, but does it make good decisions? So where am I going here, you say? At MIT, you may have heard this one before. At MIT, there was some research done on the thoughts, what sex does to your mind. So what they did was they interviewed a whole bunch of male campus students and said, would you like to participate in some research on sex? And they said, yes, I would, surprisingly. And so they provided these guys with a laptop computer, and they said, look, a series of questions will come up. Just go into the next room. We'll be watching. You know, it's nothing major. Just answer yes, no to the questions. And they did, and it was all quite clinical and interesting, some interesting questions, but, you know, nothing such a biggie. Then when they handed the computer back, and some of them were asked, would you like to participate in further, another, you know, stage 2 of the research? And the guys said, yeah, sure. So this time they gave them a laptop computer, but it was covered in cling film. And they said, okay, what's going on here? And they said, we want you to take the laptop home, and we're going to ask you the questions again. But this time when we ask you the questions, we want you to be masturbating. So very, very different kind of research. When they looked at the results, the answers the same people gave to the same questions were significantly different, like majorly different. So what has this got to do with what we're talking about? What I want to let you know is that when the guys were in a cold state, very rational, making, you know, sensible, shall we say, decisions, it was clear what their answers to would you have unprotected sex, you know, no, of course not. But in the other state, when they were in a heightened state, or, you know, thought was obviously somewhere else, their answers were different. And this is what happens to us when we sit down and when we write our goals. We do know what we want. We do know that it's very sensible to save money. We do know that we should, you know, diet and exercise, and we know the way to do that. We all know how to do that. But it's when those tempting holiday offers come, or the shiny new technology is put in front of you, or, you know, Lindt chocolate, for example, or it's freezing cold outside and that's a better place to stay than putting your running shoes on and getting up and going outside. When you're affected by different thoughts from external factors, what you know you should be doing can change. I hope that makes sense. Where's my next slide? There it is. So pleasure, we're going to talk about pleasure and pain, and it's got nothing to do with sex that I was just talking about, so you can all breathe a sigh of relief there. The other underlying factor, thanks Pen, the other underlying factor that affects our decision making is our response to pain and pleasure. It's been said that everything we do is driven by our need to avoid pain and to gain pleasure. So how we've associated pain and pleasure to things throughout our life dictates our actions. Therefore, it stands to reason that we must change our associations in order to change our behaviours. So if we associate pain to tasks in the form of boredom or dislike or not getting it right, then surprisingly, we don't do them until the pain becomes so strong in not doing them when it starts costing us great amounts of money, or we're getting grief from our boss, or we're losing a client, and then we jump into action. What we need to do is associate the pain earlier to not taking action and then set ourselves timelines to work towards. The other thing we need to do to change our associations to things is to adopt an attitude of gratitude. And one of the simplest and most powerful ways you can do this is to keep yourself a gratitude diary every day. And it's best if you get up in the morning, and if you're someone who likes to write as I do, and I have a beautiful leather-bound journal, I get up every morning and I write things that I'm grateful for, that I get to live near the beach, and that I have my 2 beautiful dogs here, and that I get to do what I love for my business every day, and that I have wonderful friends and family and wonderful community around me. And it just changes the way you approach your day. By contrast, you could approach your day going, oh my God, I've got so much to do, I can't believe it, and I've got this thing on, and then this person's going to hassle me, and Which way would you rather start your day? If you're not so much of a writer, and this is, even though it's not my one, I do the writing, I think it's even better to get out there in the great outdoors and go for a walk first thing in the morning and just tell yourself through your mind all the things you're amazingly grateful for, and just take the world in and have some little private space, like a walking meditation. So you wanted some practicals onto how you're going to tackle your procrastination, so here we go. Apart from having an attitude of gratitude, and whether that's a diary or a morning walk, your morning little walking meditation, what you need to do is to clear your clutter. So go through your office environment and just tidy it up. If you don't have time for this during your work week, then you're going to have to give up a Saturday morning for this, guys. I'm sorry, but this is just the way it's got to be. You need to just clear the clutter from your environment so that you know where things are and you're not stressed about shuffling through stuff. And I know some of you out there going, but my piles of crap are perfectly organized and I know where things are. You and I both know that's bull. So clean out your office. The other thing you need to do is to clear out your mindset. So true, it works. Thank you, Bernie. Love it. So you also need to clear your mindset. So if you have a million things in your head, and I know a lot of you do, get it to paper. And preferably the one bit of paper, the one diary, the one sheet, not post-it notes all over the place. So get stuff out of your mind and down onto paper so you know what it is you're dealing with and what you're tackling. I hope that makes sense. And I've already discussed about how to have an attitude of gratitude. The next thing you need to do is to know your outcome. If you don't know where you're going, how do you know if you've gotten there? How do you know where you're going? No wonder you're stressed. You have to set yourself some goals. Preferably set yourself some yearly goals, but if that's too much of a commitment, if you're a bit of a commitment phobe, then at least set yourself some 90-day goals. And we have just started April. So we've just started a new quarter. So this is a perfect time for you to set yourself some 90-day goals. So think where it is you want to be in 3 months' time in terms of the kind of income you want, the amount of clients you want to have, you know, how many days off you wanted to have, how you want your relationships to be. Write those down. Write down the goals you want to have at the end of this 90-day period. And then what you need to do is structure your goals as questions. So if your goal is to earn, I don't know, $50,000 this quarter, then what you need to do is to structure it as a question. How can I earn $50,000 this quarter? And then brainstorm yourself your 20 answers to each of the questions you write on each of your goals. And don't stop until you get to 20, because the gold is often in the 20th, 19th, 20th answer. Don't try and edit it to say, oh, but I couldn't because. Don't do any of that. Just write down 20 answers. Then go through your answers and plot what you've come up with into your next 90 days. What is actually achievable and what is going to get you working towards your goals and outcomes. Hope that makes sense. And there, before you know it, you will have a 90-day plan. And this is one of the things I work with people straight away. If they're stuck on it, I help them overcome that, and we get them a 90-day plan so they know where they're going, so it's one less thing to stress about. Love the KPIs. Oh, Patty, you're so funny. So I hope I'm not rushing through too fast, guys. If you want me to slow down or repeat anything, because I'm a bit of a fast talker, so I'm doing my best to slow down. But I'll take a sip of water. So I just love this stuff so much. I get a bit carried away. So way to go. Thanks, Bernie. Okay. So procrastinators, especially the ones that get the thrill from doing things at the last minute, often find that they try and fit all of their tasks into small time frames, and therefore they tackle everything in great big chunks. Breaking everything down into small manageable chunks will make it easier to manage, and you'll finish your tasks without the stress and the anger and the disappointment that you feel. I've also got to say, if you're not doing things and you're feeling the fear by, you don't take action, then you're making it about you. And you never know what effect you can have on other people with just a simple word or an action or a demonstration of just doing something. You could be inspiring someone else in ways that you may never, ever even hear about. So sitting at home just feeling afraid that you might mess it up, you don't know what it is you're taking away from someone else. So just take some action, and it doesn't have to be huge. In fact, if you're a procrastinator, I beg you not to take huge action. Small, consistent steps across your 90-day time frame so that you have time to think and process everything as you're going along. Bernie so agrees with this and gets this so often. I'm glad this is ringing home, guys. What you will then do is replace that thrill feeling of just scraping through with a massive sense of accomplishment that you'll get from finishing things ahead of time. And hey, here's something crazy. You'll even have time to review what you've done instead of just sending it off into the world and going, I think I could have done that better, or did it have mistakes? And it's okay if it did. Trust me, I didn't mean to scare you back into not taking action. But wouldn't it be great if you actually allowed yourself enough time to do something, put it aside for a day, come back, look at it, and then get it off your desk? Hallelujah, wouldn't that be fabulous? Okay, so practicalities. We're back to some practicalities. I hope you have your pen and paper there again, because I have a little unblockage exercise for you. So I want you to take your piece of paper and a pen, and across your page just draw a horizontal line and then draw a vertical line down the middle, so you've got a bit of a two-sided grid thing. You know what I mean. On the left-hand side, put up the top why I don't want to do this. And on the right-hand side, write what doing this will get for me or do for me. So when you're sitting there going, I know I should be getting on with this task, but I'm not, and those little words come in your head, what's wrong with me? Then, hey, it's okay to acknowledge the crap. It's okay to acknowledge the feelings and the thoughts that you might be having about why you're not doing this. And write them down, you know, because it's boring, because it's something I don't enjoy doing. What if I get it wrong? What if they don't like what I created for them? You know, whatever it is you're feeling about why you're not taking action on this task, acknowledge it and write it down and get it out there, because once it's down and you look at it, you realize it's not the big deal that it sounds like in your head. On the other side of the piece of paper, I want you to write what achieving this or what finishing this task is going to give you. Things like a massive sense of accomplishment, a huge sense of pride and relief. The fact that the person that's waiting on it is going to be so grateful and happy and realize what a wonderful professional person you are. All the wonderful things that you can think of that actually getting this done will give you. When you've written all that down, draw another horizontal line across your grid, and then underneath that write, what's one thing I can do towards this right now? And then you write that down, and then you do it. You do it straight away. So if your task that you were putting off was writing an article for a magazine, for example, and you were concerned that you didn't know what to write, or you weren't a good enough writer, or they're not going to like it, or you just don't know what to think of, and on the other side you write, this is going to feel great when I've done it. How amazing it's going to be when I see it in print. They're going to be so grateful because they put their faith in me to, you know, have this delivered on time. Sonia, hey Sonia, how are you? The sentence for box 3 is, sorry, it's me talking so fast again. The sentence for box 3 was, what is one thing I can do right now to get going on this task? What's one thing I can do? And for an article writing example, it could be to come up with the title of my article. It could just be that. And it's amazing once you get over that one little, you're welcome. Once you get over that one little step, the next thing you know, you've banged out an article and you've sent it off and the people are loving you for it. And that one works for me all the time. So there you go, my gift to you. Use it with love. So the next thing you need to do to overcome your procrastination is to choose your team. So remember back to the discussion we were having on sex, and more specifically, how you can be swayed to make bad decisions in a heightened state. Well, I want to give you another example from the same university. Hey, Paulina, what's in the fourth quadrant? I don't have a fourth quadrant. A left and a right column, and then just underneath that left and right column, just write down one thing you can do to get going. I've actually got a sheet on this, guys, so like a template, so I will email that to you all after the webinar. How does that sound? Cool, cool. Blah. You're welcome. Great. Woo, love it. Thanks, guys. So at the same university, the same professor, you're welcome, Fabian, who was doing the, way cool, thank you, Bernie. The professor that was taking these classes realized at the beginning of each semester he'd give out the assignments and the students would promise to have everything handed in on time. As the end of the semester got closer, the reasons started coming in thick and fast as to why they couldn't meet their commitments. And the professor found it was incredible how many families experienced tragedies around the last 2 weeks of the semester. So he came up with an experiment, and he had 3 classes, and what he did, in one of the classes he offered the students the opportunity to set deadlines themselves. They had to commit those deadlines to paper and hand those commitments in and then stick to them. If they missed their own imposed deadlines, they were penalised a percentage of their mark, and there was no bonus to handing anything in early. Fabian said, my dog died every semester. That's too funny. Sorry. Whew. Thanks, Fabian. So one of the students asked, why wouldn't they set all their deadlines to the last possible day and not risk having a penalty of their marks? The professor replied that they could do that if they wanted. It was up to them as to what commitments they set themselves. In the second class, they were given very strict deadlines imposed by the professor, no room for negotiation. And in the third class, there were no deadlines whatsoever. Just hand them in whenever you feel like it. It's up to you. So what were the results? Well, in the first class, where they were allowed to choose their own deadlines, some of the students spaced their assignments out and set themselves some deadlines, and some chose to set all their assignments to the last possible time. In the overall performance, the students that allowed themselves to set the deadlines, and in fact that whole class, did best in the results. Sorry, they did second best in the results. The students that did the very, very best were the ones that had the strict deadlines, no room for negotiation. And the worst ones were the ones that were just left to their own devices. So what these results say to me is that even when you're given the option to leave things open, some students recognize that without boundaries and consequences, they knew they were going to be prone to procrastination and possibly miss out on their best rewards. It also demonstrates that we have many activities vying for our attention, and if left to our own devices, we know we let things slide, even when we know we shouldn't. So having someone else on your side who can take control whilst you learn these new patterns is a great system for making your goals and your dreams much more within your reach. Look, your procrastination, as I said before, you've had it since you were a child, so it's taken a lifetime to install. So it's good sometimes to get some help on your side as you take some time to turn things around. So some of the things you can do about choosing your team is to just surround yourself with positive, like-minded people. If you surround yourself by negative Nellies and naysayers, do people still say that these days? I just did. Anyway, if you're surrounded by negative people, then it's much easier for you to fall into your something's wrong with me, I'm just going to procrastinate and not get out of bed today kind of pattern, I guess. But when you're around people that are, you know, on your side, naysayers, I don't know where that came from, Penny. Who says naysayers? Anyway, to forever to realize this, and now I have it, very different results. Thank you, Bernie. So the other thing you can do in choosing your team is to get a buddy. So if there's someone that you work with, that you tell them what you're doing and say, look, you know, you may need to kick my bum and do you want me to do the same for you, and let's do stuff together. It's always better to have someone on your side helping you out. Oh, hang on. I've lost my question painy thing. Bear with me. There we go. That's better. So that's an external buddy, somebody that you work with, or a friend of yours, or a family member that you can enlist to kind of keep you on the straight and narrow. And there are also internal buddies. You know, those little angels that sit on your shoulder and tell you what you should be doing and shouldn't be doing. Another good internal kind of strategy is to pretend that you've got a film crew walking around behind you filming you in everything you do. It's amazing how much you don't want to sit on the couch when you think you've got a million viewers tuning in to see what you're up to today. The other thing you can do is to get yourself a little mantra when you're hesitating on your tasks. You just pull out your little mantra, and I have mine written on my bathroom mirror, and it says, I live strong, I live smart, I live supportive. And I just pull that out whenever I'm stuck on something, and it really, really shifts me into gear. So if that helps you at all, if you don't have your own mantra and would like to borrow mine, then please, my gift to you, you're very, very welcome to have it. And the other major thing, because you need to make setting and getting your goals fun, because remember that pleasure and pain thing I was talking about? If it's fun and you get a kick out of it instead of getting a kick out of just scraping by the skin of your teeth, then you'll want to do more of it. So set your milestones, hit them, and then celebrate. So treat yourself, whether that's going out with your partner or buying yourself some new shoes, or I'm not a shoe girl, so I don't know. Just getting some nice fresh flowers. That's mine is to get myself some nice fresh flowers when I've hit one of my milestones, and it really makes me feel great. The smell and the sight, I get all my senses involved in it, and it just makes me feel very, very happy. So I just want to see if you've got any questions, guys. How's it all sinking with you? How do you feel? Support is so important to me. Yes, I have to read that one. Yes, thank you, Bernie. So excited to know that you can turn this around, that this is a learned thing and it's not something you're doomed to repeat for the rest of your lives, which has got to be great news, because I know I was very, very relieved to learn this stuff. Okay. So if you don't have, oh, that's not a very pretty slide, is it? Hang on. Whatever. You'll know. I have invented my own little goal buster group, and this is a big part of Can I put you in my pocket and have you everywhere with me? Yes, Mary, you can. Thank you, Mary. Feeling really good. This is stuff most people already know. We just need to put in some context. That is absolutely bang on, and this is why I have invented this goal buster group, because I know you're all capable people, and I know you know how to do this for yourself. But we both know that life and sometimes the thoughts in your head get in the way and take you off track, and this is exactly why I created the goal buster group. So that if you get stuck or overwhelmed, you have somewhere to go immediately to help you sort through the clutter and get you back focused on your goals so you achieve what you really want out of life. So it's a 28-day program, and because I know your time is really valuable and you certainly don't need a longer to-do list, what I have done is that I've created 4 webinars that will be available, one each Sunday, that I will email to you, and you can listen to that. It's just a short, sharp 30-minute thing that you can listen to in your own time. But what you need to do is to commit your commitment for that week onto your private Facebook page by midday Tuesday Eastern Standard Time. So that is your accountability part. So listen to your webinar in your own time, but you have to get your commitment up by Tuesday each week. You also have the Facebook group to post as many questions, and in that whole being with other positive, like-minded people, you can just cheer on everybody else that's in the group, share wins, share inspiration, help each other out. It's just amazing to watch the way the groups just interact and help each other. You'll get a weekly webinar, you'll get weekly tips emailed to you just to kind of keep you inspired. You'll get a welcome pack and a CD in the post, and the whole month to spend with me to do that is only $47. because I really want you to get a goal. So if you have a goal that you want to knock out of the park this April, it's only $47, and I will keep you on track so that you can get over this lifetime learned procrastination stuff and start installing some new strategies and get yourself some self-regulation, and so that you start taking control. Mary's a yes, I love it. I'm really passionate about you guys setting and getting your goals. So what you can do when you leave here, if you're very keen, you can go to my website, which is youraccountabilitybuddy.com.au. It's there at the bottom, and if you click on the Programs tab, you'll see my 28-day Goal Buster program, and there's a link to go straight through and put your details in and pay your $47, and you will get your first video this Sunday, and we'll get started this week. So I hope you're as excited about that as I am, but there is my offer for you. I will also email all this to you for you people that need a little bit longer to think about stuff, but don't procrastinate too long. Very excited, Benny. Yay! I'm very excited too. As you can tell, this just lights me up, and we will have an amazing month of fun and just supporting each other and just getting stuff done. Love it. Thank you, Fabian. So I'm loving all the great feedback, guys. So if you're keen, rush over to my website and book up now. If you have any questions, we've still got 4 minutes on the clock. Thank you, Penny. Mwah. I'm happy to answer any questions you have. And I'll have another sip of water because I've been talking like an absolute demon for an hour, which is really easy for me to do. No, I assume from your silence you're all rushed off to my website and you're signing up. Thank you, Fabian. Oh, that's very, very beautiful feedback. Thank you. No, Mary, I'm actually based in New South Wales. I'm on the central coast of New South Wales. Oh, Bernie, you're very welcome. Mwah, thank you. I've had the best time presenting this material, and I'm really, really appreciative of you guys. Oh, Mary, sad face. I come to Melbourne for TCI training, so we'll have to catch up. So if there aren't any other questions, you can email me at any time, guys. You know, you've seen my Facebook page. Fabian's definitely getting the program. I love it. Thank you, guys. So we kick off on, thanks, Pen. We kick off on Sunday, and I'm just so excited. There are 6 people that signed up from last week, so you've already got a little family to plug straight into. So I really hope you take advantage of my Goal Buster group, and let's knock something out of the park this April, huh? Thanks, guys. If that's a wrap. And I'll be over on Facebook if you want to come over and chat about anything there. And have a fantastic evening. Good night, good night. Love to you all.